What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the GoodeBaker podcast. I'm Nick Baker. Across from me, Shane Good.
And across from me, Nick Baker.
That is right, and we're here to talk to you about some video games. We're going to switch things up a little bit first. We're going to talk about the big topics of the week, and then we're going to get into what we've been playing because we've both been hitting Borderlands 3 pretty hard.
Yeah, man.
And we want to talk about that quite a bit. So why don't you kick us off with some of the hot topics this week?
Yeah, mate. So first off, we've got, and this actually released today.
All right.
I think it was probably about an hour and a half ago or something like that. So AMD, they stated that they are going to now be releasing their second gen to EPYC processor, which is basically like, it's essentially, it would be like the equivalent, or it's like the matchup to the Enterprise series for Intel.
Okay.
So like, this is the processor that you would put in like a massive server rack or like something of that equivalent. Like this isn't for like your average computer. Like this would be for like
handling a huge load.
Yeah, this is like handling 60 virtual machines.
Okay.
So the processor itself, the specs, 64 cores, which is something that we've seen before.
So do you think that this is some of the technology that they're going to start using for like the cloud gaming services?
I could totally see them using something like this for cloud gaming services.
Okay.
Because the amount that this thing can process is like, I mean, like, to put it into perspective, my processor, brand spanking new out of the box, cost $320.
Mm-hmm.
This one I think will probably be around $12,000.
Excuse me.
There's a big difference there. But the big thing that everybody is kind of pointing out is that this base clock is 2.5. So I know that doesn't mean too much for you, but previous, I believe the base clock was like 1.8 or something like that. So you have a ton of cores, and the clock is kind of how efficient they can run. So when that clock goes up to 2.5, it's running that much more efficient than the older series. So essentially, they've just been able to, figure out how to keep heat under management.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not hard to put the frequency higher. You could put the frequency higher, but that the chip fries itself because of how hot it gets.
Mm.
So they've been able to kind of keep the heat down enough where they feel comfortable to putting the base clock at 2.5. So I'm curious to see like kind of what they'll do with it, how high it can actually boost. And I'm really interested to see how crazy people get with cooling systems. This is the type of processor where people would like liquid nitrogen cool it. Wow. People would do like, that's this processor because you boot this thing up and you don't have to worry about condensation because it's a 200 watt processor. So you figure you're throwing 200 watts into a half an inch by a half an inch and then expecting it to function.
Stay cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, yeah, that sounds like just a whole lot of computer jargon that stupid me just does not understand. But throwing it into our next topic.
Yeah.
Somebody that might understand that is the new character that's coming out in Apex, Crypto.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Yeah. We're working on it. We're getting there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's talk about Crypto.
So, Crypto was kind of teased a little bit in the last few weeks. I've seen some videos online, Reddit and the like, of just this back. I forget where it even was in the map. I've just seen the videos, and somebody walks into this lab area, and he's working on this computer, and then he sees the character, moves out and shuts everything down before they can actually get a good look at him. But now he's actually been revealed and didn't go too deep into details, but I imagine that he'll be released in the next season.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. I'm excited for any kind of new characters for that game just because they changed the meta up and it makes that game playable again.
A
little bit easier to like dip back in when people are trying to test out some new stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you played any Apex lately?
I think I haven't played Apex since week 3 of it launching. I don't play a ton ton of Apex. I don't play Fortnite really anymore. Actually, I uninstalled it completely from my computer.
Wow.
So
things have changed since last week.
Well, it's been a week and a half since I uninstalled it, but it actually kind of ties into the end story. Epic Launcher continuously tries to update things, even while you're playing other games. So while I'm playing Borderlands, it bogs Borderlands down because it's continuously trying to update Fortnite. So I was like, hey, watch this.
And you're gone. Yeah, you can't be interrupting our Borderlands 3 time because that's not a good look, man.
No, it's not a good look, man.
But yeah, Crypto, I'm pretty excited. I wonder what his abilities are gonna be.
Probably something on the comprehensive of AMD's new processor. They probably stole direct technology from it. He's probably gonna run off 2 of them, to be honest. If I had to guess. So
that's gonna be dope.
Yeah,
wonder if he'll be sponsored.
Oh my, that'd be hilarious if they just threw like a sponsor on the center of his suit or something.
Just like a flex on Epic. Just hey, yeah, we got AMD to sponsor one of our characters.
That would actually be incredibly smart.
Can you imagine if similar to how esports.
Oh yeah,
esports are sponsored. Each character in a game could be sponsored too.
That'd be
really dope.
That would be.
Anyway, so you had some news here about Steam changing their layout.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting considering they haven't changed it in a while.
So it's just beta.
Okay.
So if you're subscribed to the Steam beta version, which I currently am, why? I don't know, because I fucking hate myself, because sometimes they do things that break the Steam library. But
it's like, no, I can't play games. Damn.
You just revert it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good revert system. So essentially what they've done is they've just changed the basic colors, and they've changed the layout of kind of where things are. And that shows that they haven't done this in so long, but it shows that the Valve company is starting to realize that they need to change stuff up to kind of be relevant, because with Borderlands 3 never coming to Steam, that's a massive game that they're not going to get.
Right, they're not going to get any of that cake, and everybody else is feasting.
Exactly.
And they're looking at their old-ass layout, and they're like, well, maybe we could use a facelift. And
on top of that, a lot of not, I wouldn't say AAA titles, but the single A's, the old indie boys, a fair amount of them are actually stating that they're going to go to Epic, and they're going to be Epic exclusives. The only thing I have to say about this in the grand scheme is that Epic has probably the worst technical support I've ever dealt with in my life, which I'll tell you about once we start talking about Borderlands 3.
All right. Great.
But that's my lead off for that one.
All right. So we're stepping on landmines already. But speaking of a company that has been trying to do things to beat out the competition, Xbox recently released Gears 5. To some pretty good reviews, and I guess people are enjoying that a lot. I'm pretty surprised considering Xbox hasn't really had a good suite of first party games.
It's been a minute.
The last one I can really say that was even a slight hit was Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even that was met with a mass amount of criticism.
I think a lot of that game's success came because of Game Pass, and
I think you're right.
That really helped that out. But Gears 5 looks pretty good. I've seen some gameplay. The graphics are intense.
Have you seen Donkey's gameplay by chance?
No, I haven't.
Do you know who Donkey is?
I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah.
Video game Donkey. All right, so he made a compilation. Where the game looks really good, because I've seen both gameplays.
Right.
But he made a compilation where it was literally just him running around, ducking behind corners, waiting for people to pop out, and then he'd just shoot him once with a shotgun and dip that back down into the corner. And it's like a 5-minute video of him just either he plays fantastically or he plays terribly, and it makes the game oh man, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get one shot by a shotgun, and then on the other side, it's here's what's gonna happen. you're both gonna miss every fucking shot, and then you're gonna end up just walking away. Like, it just...
Oh my god, yeah, I can imagine that. Just times in Halo like that, just trying to jump around, shoot each other, you just miss completely, run out of ammo, you're both trying to reload, like, oh fuck, still jumping.
Yep.
Oh man, good times.
Good old Halo times, which are coming back. It's, what is that, 2020? Halo's coming out?
Yeah, I think with the next Xbox, so... We're looking forward to the new consoles next year. I can't wait to start talking about that stuff. That's some exciting stuff coming out the pipe, and
I'm so hyped.
Yeah, so hyped for that.
Even though they think that it's gonna take computers off the line, but
I mean, the PC almost died gaming wise before, and they came back from the dead. So I'm sure that they'll find a way.
Oh yeah, well I mean, right now the statistics show that there's more computer gamers out than there is console gamers.
So that's such a big turnaround. Whereas like in the early 2000s, where PC gaming was starting to die, it's like,
dude, I'm not gonna lie though, the PS2, that was the cat's ass, man.
No, dude, PS2.
Coming home, PS2, after school, I was homeschooled, went upstairs after I was done my schoolwork, played some Tony Hawk 4.
Hell yeah, thug. Let's go. So anyway, next on the list, last big topic. Big topic's kind of giving this a little too much, but I'm excited for it just because
I think it's a cool thing.
I recently dipped back into the Red Dead Online scene, and recently, I forget the Reddit user's name, but they posted up on IGN, and IGN took the story. They recently found a zombie NPC in the Red Dead Online world that could possibly be teasing, which, I mean, assumedly it's teasing Zombie Nightmare 2, which is
it sounds pretty fun.
Oh my god. If fucking fun. The really big thing that they've been working on, like they did heists for GTA Online. If this is like that, it's going to be insane.
My thought behind it is, do you think that it's another game? Because for the first one, it was another game.
Right, it was another like solid release. I wonder if it will be enough content to release on a disc.
I don't. So here's what I see them doing. I see them doing it for free because Rockstar has a ridiculous amount of money, and they care more about their fans than they do the money, and they've shown that.
The more people they have playing their games, because they have such a good online, in-game money system. Economy. Wow. Yeah, there we go. We got there in the end. They have such a good economy as far as people buying gold and buying things in-game to make themselves look cooler or get their camp up.
Yeah, they've got their cosmetic items pretty well on fleek.
I mean, they can make money that way, whereas they don't really need to charge for this DLC, and it'd be super cool if they just tossed it to you. I mean, they just released free DLC in the way of the Frontier, something Frontier.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what the name of it is, and they do it all the time with GTA. I could definitely see them like you just turn your PS4 on one day and you're like, wow, why does Red Dead have a fucking 19 gig update, and all of a sudden it just
yeah, it happens the same way with Battlefield all the time. You just turn it on, and every once in a while you have like a 7 gig update. It's like, oh, they added like 3 new maps. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. But anyway, now on to why we're here. So you seem to have a little bit more of an issue with Borderlands 3 than I have. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I actually started a character, started the Zane character.
Hey, I got a Zane too.
Up until level 10-ish.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe like 11. I liked his abilities, but I wasn't so crazy about how hyper offensive you had to really be. I mean, you had the shield, but the shield was it was so quick. Like, I feel like the shield was just gone so immediately, and you could pick it up and whatnot, but
you have to get CDR for it.
I switched. I have started with the Beastmaster now.
The Beastmaster is amazing.
I actually switched because at one point in the game, Flak? Yeah.
Flak. Yeah. Flak. There we go.
Yeah, so Flak is crazy.
Yeah.
And his personality is so awesome.
Yeah, he's just like, funny.
I'm going to destroy you. Humans suck.
He's pretty funny. He's kind of a mystery, though.
Yeah, I like the bit of airs he has about him. Like, you don't really know what he's about. Like, what has happened to him before. So, with Zane, I thought he reminded me a bit too much of just, the crazy character you would see in a game like this. And it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody's crazy in Borderlands. I've had enough of crazy. I want somebody that's, like, fucking serious, like, to kill these motherfuckers that are just up in his grill being all stupid and fucking crazy, and it just blows them away. So I picked Flak, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I think I'm only like level 2 or 3 now that I restarted. I've been moving, obviously. I think I talked about that last week.
Yo.
So a lot of my time's been taken up, but I have been having fun with it. I think that the graphical style of the game lends itself to being timeless. Even though
for sure.
At times it seems pretty lackluster in the visual aspect. Like, especially PC probably doesn't have this problem, but console pop-in, there's a lot of pop-in. Even with the PS4 Pro, it's still popping in, and I feel like it's not the technology, because I'm not, like, hearing any humming or anything, like, really...
Oh boy, do I have some knowledge to lay on you.
So I'll let you rant in just a second. So I want to get the positive out of the way first. But
I'll follow mine up with positive anyway.
There's
the game is really good.
Yeah, like I said, a little bit of pop in here and there, but it doesn't really take you out of the overall experience. Yeah. It's mostly right when you load in, or in instances where you're kind of moving fast around the world. In your whatever dune buggy fucking thing or whatever they call it.
Did you get the cyclone?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Did you get the cyclone with the spinning wheel blade and the laser?
I didn't. I got the cyclone with the Gatling gun. Oh no! I killed that thing. I destroyed it.
Dude, you destroyed that. You have one opportunity to get that thing.
Well, good thing I started a new character. I didn't know that.
I'll have
to actually grab that.
Me and Plague are doing a run through where we get every vehicle. And we get every single thing.
That is how you get vehicles in that
game? You just rip people out of, like, if you see a vehicle that's new, just, like, run up to it and take the guy out and fucking drive it back to your little platform. All you gotta do is park it.
I'm super excited to test out, because I just, like I said, started Flag. I want to test out the animal companions that he has, because those look so awesome.
Oh my god.
They have so many cool little abilities and whatnot.
They're so fucking fun, dude. They're so fucking fun.
So with my positive and slight negative out of the way, what's your experience been with the PC version of this?
I have literally had to dissect the game to get it to run. So I'm part of the 6% of people on computer that wasn't able to get the game to run on launch day. And actually, I'm glad to hear that you're not part of the people that have issues on console, because a lot of consoles are having issues. Specifically, PlayStation is having issues. Xbox, the game runs fairly well on, but a lot of people have had issues with console, specifically the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, where the game in fighting sequences goes as low as 20 FPS.
Yeah, I haven't had any frame issues really per se that have been like dangerously noticeable. Also, there's not ever really too much going on though on screen. That's another thing I've noticed is just for a modern game, it doesn't seem like there's like a lot thrown at you. There's like maybe 6 or 7 enemies at a time, and you
haven't made it to any of the real fights.
I mean, not anything super duper crazy. I fought the mild spoilers here if anybody wants to avoid it. 5-second drop.
All right.
The brain guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So I fought that guy, and he has some pretty intense stuff that he tries to do to you. There's a lot on screen, but other than that, there's really not too much that tears the game down that way for me.
There's... So that fight sequence really doesn't have that many things going on. There's a spot later on. I won't spoil things, but there's a spot later on where you're in a little bit of a bigger area, and you fight waves of enemies, and you probably fight like 15 at a time, and they come like 5 waves, and they spawn after the last 5 are there, so you have about 20 enemies on your screen at once. And if you play with other people, they add enemies.
That's what I still haven't been able to do yet. A few of my friends that play on PS4 are just grinded hard on that game, so they're like 20s, 30s, and I'm like, oh well, damn. You guys have a whole lot more time on your hands than I have. So I literally got to like 11 or 12 and restarted, and that's all I've really had time to do. But so you had to completely take apart your game.
I'll dig into that. So basically, the game itself is, and this goes for console as well. The game itself, after digging through a lot of the files, talking to a lot of some very, very smart people, because my game wouldn't run on launch day, I wasn't able to play the game for the first 3 days that the game was out, essentially.
Wow.
At least on any consistent basis. I was able to get it to work for a couple hours here and there after a lot of configuration changes and just trying to basically optimize it the best I can. The game has 0 optimization for any system at all. It has 0 optimization for literally almost any system. So what ends up happening is the physics in the game are, they instead of using CPU intensive physics, they use GPU intensive physics because the game cell shading doesn't really bring graphical, calculations to the table. So they used the 3D models, and then they used the remaining graphical power or RAM buffer on your graphics card to help with the physical, the calculations for physics in the game. So what ends up happening is your graphics card is put under a ridiculous load. So on graphics cards like mine, I have a 590 Fat Boy series, which has a very specific feature that I wanted it for, where if the graphics card is pinned at 100% for more than 8 seconds, the graphics card will close whatever program is pinned it. And that keeps the graphics card from getting too hot and burning out. It's a really good feature to have.
So what you're saying is Borderlands pins it at 100 constantly?
Borderlands launches it, and it pins at 100%. Because the game itself doesn't have the ability to save its own graphical settings. Somehow it was overlooked in the configuration files. I went into the manual configuration files in the actual game, not like in the game menus or anything like that. Like I went to
right. You broke it down. With PC, you can obviously do that.
Yeah, I went to where the files are saved in the computer, changed all those settings manually, and it won't save them. So they have some sort of.
So do you have to now do that every time until they update it?
So what I have to do every time until they update it is I have to launch the game. I have 8 seconds to get to the menu, get to the visual settings, and drop my FPS cap to 30. And if I can't do that in 8 seconds, the game crashes.
Wow. So, other than that, once you've gotten the game to, launch and not crash... How has your game been?
It's actually been really good.
Who have you played? Have you played with a bunch of people? Or?
Yeah, I've played with a bunch of people. A couple people have already beat the game on my friends list. A couple of them are already max level.
What is max level in this game?
50.
50. Wow.
50.
Okay.
But there's
that's higher than I expected.
There's Guardian levels.
Okay, so you go beyond that. How far beyond Guardian levels do you go? Or is it just like...
I don't know specifically. I know that once you get to Guardian levels, you basically, Guardian levels give, you will complete a quest, and instead of getting a level, you'll get a Guardian level, and what it will do for your character is it will give it, negative 0.2 on reload. Flat. So that carries over to any weapons,
stacks.
Yeah, it's so... And once you get, say you get, 50 Guardian levels, you might have, 3% more crit, you might have 18% more crit damage, and you might have, this or that. And I believe, I don't know if it's random, I believe it's static. So regardless of what character you do it on, those are the stats that you can expect. I don't know how high Guardian levels go. I can tell you that, like, I'm at 22 or 23 now. I haven't had a ton of time to play it, and honestly, I haven't had a ton of motivation to play it due to the fact that it's actually pretty difficult for me to get into the game, and then even once the game plays, I fall victim to very small glitches that end up happening that specific sequences override your graphics card settings in between cutscenes where the load hits the world. So like in between a cutscene where a new world is loading, it pre-buffers, but it doesn't hit my RAM. It hits my graphical RAM. When it hits my graphical RAM, it spikes to 100%. Crashes the game.
Wow.
So I've unfortunately, like, the game will just randomly crash for me because it hits the graphical buffer so hard at random times. Even when I cap the game to 60 FPS, which is 60 FPS is fine for me because I've only got a 75 hertz monitor.
Right, I mean, going anywhere beyond that's kind of useless, right, at that point?
I mean, for a game like that, yeah, because there's no competitive edge to going at 144.
Right.
So it's kind of, other than, like, the basic frustrations that I've had and not really, like, the want to play the game because it's been a week and a couple days and they haven't updated to allow me to play the fucking game normally. Also, Epic, terrible customer service.
All right, yeah, this is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, the Epic customer service has been like, hey, so this is what's wrong with your game. Replies, I'm not sure how to help you with that. Is there any way you could make it so the graphical settings save? I don't know how to do that. Like, the emails that I've had back and forth between these guys, and then they sent me directly to the company, and I sent the 2K technical support emails back and forth telling them where the issues are, why they're happening, why the rendering issues are happening. Knowledge that I myself know from playing games and just dissecting the insides of it, but also people that are much smarter than me have helped me figure this stuff out.
Right.
And they're literally were just like, okay, we'll look right into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably who you're contacting is probably not the people that you're trying to get at. They're probably just, answering the phones, so to speak, and they're trying to relay messages to the actual technical support, and at that point, you're lost in translation, and you're just another commenter, and like,
unfortunately,
if they get enough comments that send them in that direction, they'll be like, all right, we need to fix this. But if you're one of, what did you say, like 6%?
Yeah, basically 6%
until that number starts to grow and grow and grow, or until they actually just start to roll out proprietary updates. That's when I think that will get fixed. But Borderlands 3 is still a big fucking hit. Everybody bought this.
Oh yeah, dude!
I swear to God.
And the game is really cool. I mean, just a little bit about the characters because I know you haven't really gotten too far into it.
Right.
For people that are looking to kind of figure out like what the most damaged characters are, how the tankiest characters are, what the most utility characters are. So Zane comes in at the utility character spot, believe it or not.
Right, yeah, because he does have a lot of ways that he can control.
Yes, and he has a lot of different things he can do. He has a lot of CDR he can get. You can almost have 100% uptime on that shield once you get into Guardian levels.
So, yeah, but once you extend into those higher levels, I'm sure that Zane will be definitely worth having at, like, a basic level that I can just level up.
Yeah.
But what I was most interested in him for was his clone ability.
It's really cool.
I had no idea that you could swap back.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could switch places until I randomly hit the button and I did it and I was like, oh, wait. And then I saw my clone over where I was and I was like, oh, my God, this changes everything.
So it's pretty cool.
I set up my shield. I'd throw down my clone as like a really good defensive distraction, and I'd go around and flank, and I'd use that constantly and swap back to behind the shield, pick up the shield, and then flank forward while they were distracted on
Yep.
what was me, but now is my clone. Brilliant design, I think. Something that could have just been simply like Apex. It's just like you throw out a clone and there it is. But instead of that, you have something that can be used as a point of strategic flanking and a point of, overlook. If you don't really have somebody that's playing with you, it actually really worked well for me to have that distraction instead of, taking the heat constantly, because that's sometimes a little rugged. But
and that shield doesn't block all the damage either once you're wearing it, so.
Right. It's really useful as like a pushing utensil, but other than that, it didn't really do much, because by the time I actually got back, I ran out of time with the shield. I ran out of time with the clone. Excuse me.
So, are you ready for the assassin, who is technically the highest damage dealing character in the game?
The assassin. Which one's the assassin?
There isn't one.
Oh, okay.
It's considered the assassin because of the playstyle that it actually encounters. So Flak is the highest damage dealing character in the game because of his skill tree. Towards endgame, he's allowed to get 100% crit or close enough to it, where essentially the way the calculations work, every 2 shots you're guaranteed a crit. Essentially every single shot you're guaranteed a crit because the crit rolls over. So I think it's like every 12 shots you have a 3% chance of not critting. So, but anyways.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and his crit damage tree goes all the way up to I think it's 600%.
So I'm pretty invested in Borderlands, and it's really the first time that I've been invested in Borderlands. Other than the time we spent playing a little bit of it. I mean, it wasn't very in depth. The most time I've ever spent with a Borderlands game before this was 2.
Yep.
And I got to maybe level 15 or so with that game, and
I love Borderlands 2.
And didn't go much further than that, but this one seems like it's really got its hooks in me. As far as it's a lot of just looting, getting all kinds of crazy new weapons, and good storyline keeps you preoccupied, and
for sure.
That's something that I guess I don't really have right now, other than Red Dead. I dip back into, and that's been great. Just waiting for whatever's next, and I guess that's not like the best way I could describe my love for Borderlands, because it is actually a really great game, but I feel like a just slight disconnect with Borderlands. It's not like
you have to kind of know the characters
hitting that. I mean, the characters are great. I love some of the characters. Moxie is really, really cool. Like, I love her aesthetic. That's really awesome. Lilith, I'm not crazy about, actually.
Yeah, Lilith just, I don't know. She seems very what's that? Almost like a kind of like a cliche anime character. I don't know if you've ever watched anime that you can tell before everything even starts, it's just a classroom. And you can tell who the main character is, and you're just oh, it's the kid with the red flaming hair amongst all of the kids with normal, barely drawn-in faces. Interesting.
Another quick thing I want to mention before we hop off, Claptrap. A lot of people had Claptrap had problems with the new voice actor and everything for Claptrap.
Yeah.
I thought that the lines and the writing for Claptrap was still just as good as before.
I thought so.
Some of them were you're first brought onto Sanctuary, and the crack in the window, and he just gets his ass stuck in there. He's like, "I saved your asses with my ass." I'm like, it cracked me up. I was like, that's gold, And
I think he did a good job.
It's nothing over the top funny at any point, but it's always just a little snickering off in the corner, fucking Claptrap, and you're like, fuck this little guy over here. He's making me laugh, and he's a piece of shit. But so any closing thoughts on Borderlands other than the fact that you're tired of dealing with the bullshit in the background?
Closing thoughts. I'm excited to actually get into the game when I can truly play it.
Right. What level did you actually even make it to? Did you?
I've 2-3 characters. I have a Mose, which is 10. I have a Zane, which is 10. And then I have another Zane, which is 22 or 23.
Why did you make 2 Zanes?
The reason why I made 2 Zanes is because one of them is my solo play, and one of them is my play with another group that I'm playing with.
I see.
And the Mose is actually a character that I wanted to bring up really quick. She has a crazy ability that allows her to regenerate grenades. Mm-hmm. Anybody that wants to play a character that never runs out of ammo, she's it. The gunner has the ability to regenerate her ammo. It's pretty nuts.
Once you get to the SDUs, though, I think that's what they are.
You
extra ammo deposits or whatever they're.
Don't really run out of ammo anyways.
Really,
but anyways.
Yeah, so I guess that's going to be everything for this week's episode. Also, I wanted to mention that tomorrow, Link's Awakening, the remake, is coming out. That's going to be really awesome. It got a really high review on IGN. Looks great. Beautiful art style. Can't wait to play that. I want something on my Switch to play, too, so that's awesome. But, same old, like, subscribe, comment in the bottom if you have anything to say about Borderlands or any of the fucking problems that it's having.
Or if you've had problems.
Yeah, maybe similar problems as my friend Shane here.
I might be able to fix them for you.
Go over to the Facebook page, give us another like. We finally eclipsed 100. I think we're up to like 107 thanks to some advertising.
Did some cheeky. I posted it like everywhere.
With all that said, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.